Welcome to the Smart Publishing Impact Series, where we show you how to turn your expertise into a book that actually drives results. I'm Jonathan Lautermilch, CEO of Smart Publishing.
And I'm Renée Lautermilch, Chief Editor of Smart Publishing. This is the podcast for business owners, coaches, and professionals who don't just want to be authors. They want to use a book to build authority, attract clients, and create real opportunities.
Each week, we break down what actually works when it comes to writing, publishing, and leveraging a book the right way. Sometimes it's just us pulling back the curtain on our process. Other times we're joined by authors, industry experts, sharing how they've used a book to grow their business. If you've ever thought about writing a book, or you already have one and want it to do more for you, you're in the right place. Let's get into it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Smart Publishing Impact Series. I am your host, Renée Lautermilch, and Chief Editor at Smart Publishing. And today is going to be a solo episode, just me. I'm calling it the Best Helper Interlude because part 2 is going to be coming up next week. Jonathan is actually out at a networking event today, so it's going to be just me. But I thought that it would be helpful to hop on here for just a couple minutes in two respects. One is we have ditched Riverside and we are using Squadcast now, which I did not realize is part of Descript. Descript is a platform that we have already been using for a long time to take people's audio recording files and turn them into transcripts so that we can edit them from there. Apparently, we have access to Squadcast inside of it. So I've never used it until now. So part of this is a test so that we don't get another episode of Jonathan and I where, anywhere between a quarter to a third of what he says in the back half of the episode is just cut out because it stops recording. So hopefully this will go really well. I've heard really good things about the reliability of this platform over the reliability of Riverside. So I have high hopes. But also, the second part of this is I've had quite a few listener questions come in around AI. The AI stuff never stops. And so I just wanted to address those because I think they're really important. I see a lot of people continue to go into the same direction where they are doing work that's going to end up needing to be redone because of what they don't know about some of the issues with trying to write your book with AI. I have done an entire episode on this before, so I'm not going to get into all of it here, but I do have an episode that's in the past listings. You can go and find it on my stance and what I think all the issues are. But this in particular, so I see a lot of manuscripts, right? And some of the questions that I get is like, okay, so what is the role of AI or what should the role of AI be in writing? And I think where it can work well is to help organize your ideas. So if you have an idea for something, but you're not quite sure how to structure it, you can use AI to help you come up with a really good outline or structure for your book. And then I think what you do is you take that, you make it a little bit more robust into more of what we call a chapter map. So it's got more details than just sort of the raw headers of the outline. It's got more what I would call recording prompts for you. And then you go and record audio for each chapter to record you talking, and then you share those transcriptions with your editor who can shape them up into professional book chapters. Again, books have been written this way for a very, very, very long time. Not every writer who you think is a writer is actually technically writing their book. Many of those people are either dictating to somebody who is writing stuff down, or they're recording and that's getting turned into an audio transcript. So totally fine to do it that way, and it's the fastest and the easiest way to do it, particularly if you don't really like writing or see yourself as a writer. But that is probably the best case. Now, if you are using it as a spell checker, as a proofreader, as a line editor, that's fine as well. Where we get into trouble is when you're just giving it prompts with maybe even a little bit of your thoughts and information and then having it do the rest of the work. That's the problem. It's a problem in a multitude of ways. So the first way that it's a problem is it is not copyrightable. Under copyright law, the precedent that has been set for that is it has to be human authored. And what the courts will look at that as is that it is AI authored. If AI is doing the majority of the work on writing it, then it is AI authored. It is not human authored. That means it does not have copyright protections. You cannot put it under a copyright as yourself. It will not hold in court. The second problem that's even more concerning is AI is grabbing stuff from somewhere. And so particularly if you're writing on something that's maybe a little bit more niche, or they've got less sources to pull from what the AI has been trained off of, it's actually using other people's work to make what you're asking it to make, which is copyright infringement. So if someone were to go through and find entire, aspects of your text, just like you learned in school, plagiarism, that are taken from somebody else's work, that is copyright infringement, and that is a grounds for a lawsuit there. So that is another major issue. The third issue I would say is, and this is what I've seen in some recent work that I've reviewed, is it is so lifeless and generic. First of all, people recognize it now. Everybody's using AI to write their social media posts. And so when your manuscript looks like somebody's social media post, first of all, everybody can tell it has a lot of these same sort of conventions of how it writes things that are very repeated and become honestly kind of exhausting to read, because it uses these same sort of conventions where, it'll start a line with because, or it's this single line formatting where it's just this pithy little sentence that sounds cool on the surface but really has no depth and nobody can even understand what it really means. It sounds like some kind of Yoda saying. People don't want to read that. Honestly, people are getting tired of reading social media posts where they can tell it was written by AI, because people are looking for connection and authenticity. They're looking to connect with people. And if you have a book that is devoid of personality, it's just information, and it's written in that way, it's going to fail. Nobody's going to want to read it, and it's going to backfire on you. Instead of a book building your authority and credibility, it's actually going to completely undermine your credibility and authority when people can see that you didn't do the work, you pressed the easy button, and you didn't share anything that they haven't already heard out there from somewhere else, because it's highly likely, again, that your material is taken from somebody else's work, who, could, depending upon how much of it is in what you have prompted AI to create, could take legal action against you if they were to come across it or be made aware of it. So I know I didn't go through specific questions line by line, but this really came out of questions that all revolved around, can I use AI? And if I do, how do I use AI? And so that is my professional advice. The easiest, most authentic way, where it is copyrightable, it is your work, and you don't have to worry about copyright infringement, and people are actually going to get value out of it. It's going to have depth, personality, all those things. The way to do it is to audio record for transcription and then have an editor edit and shape and structure that transcription. That is absolutely the best way to do it. Don't write your book with AI for so many different reasons. just use it to help you think through how you outline or how you might structure. Ask it to come up with, several different options so that at the end of the day, you're using your judgment and your opinion on what you think will come across best to the reader. So that's everything that I have for this little interlude today. We will both be back next week to do part 2 of Best Helper versus Bestseller. And real quick before I go, I want to congratulate Richard G. Powell on hitting bestseller for his book release of All This Before 30. So check out All This Before 30 by Richard Powell on Amazon. He is hot off the release of his book and hitting bestseller. So huge congratulations to him. Like I always say, if you're looking to reach out to us, you can find us at smartpublishingservices.com. You can find me at Renee at smartpublishingservices.com. And you can look us both up on Facebook, where we mostly are, Jonathan Lautermilch or Renee Lautermilch, Lautermilch. If you have 60 seconds, we would be so honored and gracious if you would rate and review this podcast. It helps it to get out in front of more people who could benefit from this content. And as always, keep writing your story because the world needs your voice.